In the beginning of the film, Vasili Zaitsev, a young child, is being taught how to hunt by his grandfather. Vasili's grandfather uses their horse as bait and educates him to remain as motionless as a stone in order to elude the wolf. Vasili is ordered to pull the trigger as the animal charges towards the horse, seemingly on cue. Unaware of how this momentous occasion may impact him going forward, the shaky young child bravely follows instructions. Then, the scene switches to 1942, when the horrors of World War II are still plaguing the planet. After seizing control of Europe, the Nazis are currently advancing across the Soviet Union towards the oil-rich regions of Asia. The city of Stalingrad, which is guarded by Russian Red Army soldiers, stands in their path, though. A backup force is dispatched to support the Red Army as the fighting in the city intensifies. Vasili, one of the troops boarding the train, has developed into a proficient marksman. He watches intently as the villagers are driven out to provide space for additional troops. They arrive in the city after a brief journey, when they are dragged onto boarding boats to go to the front lines. The battlefield clearly shows that the Nazis have completely defeated them, and the remaining men are being ordered to go on suicide missions. Upon realizing this, a few troops attempt to escape, but are fatally shot by their fellow soldiers for desertion. Seeing their chance, the Germans start fire, wounding half of their opponent before they can even mount a counterattack. The sniper. The remaining soldiers are split up into pairs of two as soon as the boat docks, with each couple receiving a gun. After only a few shots, Vasili is called upon to intervene on behalf of his allies. His only chance of surviving, as he nearly instantly splits from his pair, is to remain low to the ground and blend in. A couple of his fellow soldiers attempt to flee after realizing their chances of survival are limited, only to be slain by their own people once more. The bodies of the fallen Russian soldiers quickly litter the battlefield. Shortly after, a car pulls into the desolate scene and is struck by a tank right away. Russian Army Commissioner Danilov leaps from the crashed car and hides among the corpses, feigning death. As the Germans approach and begin shooting the soldiers, he holds his breath to make sure none of them are still alive. Danilov, who for some reason makes it through the attack, waits until they are out of sight before stealing a gun off a nearby fallen soldier. Vasili, who had also been acting dead, approaches him when he realizes the weapon is without ammunition. Giving the commissioner his portion of ammo, he instructs him to fire in the event of an explosion so they aren't found out. But due to his lack of experience, Danilov is apprehensive and gives Vasili the rifle. Vasili surprises the commissioner with his superb marksmanship and eliminates every opposing sniper just as another car pulls up and the explosion begins. He is so thrilled that he writes off some brochures to celebrate Vasili's achievement when they eventually arrive at headquarters after being saved. Higher-ranking Red Army authorities understand that defenses are inadequate because their soldiers are not courageous enough to die for their nation. As a result, Chairman Nikita Khrushchev intervenes to rebuild the defense system, which is weakening the Soviet military. He asks his subordinates to reconsider their plans, but all he hears are the same old plans, until Danilov proposes that instead, they could inspire optimism and show a hero who will inspire everyone to defend their country. Startled by this, Khrushchev queries if the commissioner will be able to carry it out. Danilov gives Vasili a recommendation and obtains authorization to publish his valiant stories in the military journal. Vasili's abilities are immediately acknowledged, and he is sent to the sniper section. He becomes the face of the Russian army and a propaganda symbol as soon as word of his valiant act spreads throughout the nation. Deadly marksman. As a result, the Germans are so intimidated by the Russian sniper that they send in world-class marksman Major Erwin Konig, who is also the head of an army sniper school, to kill Vasili. Vasili meets Sasha, a small child, one day while on a mission, and Sasha, like all the other citizens, thinks highly of him. Danilov takes letters from his followers to Sasha, who extends an invitation to visit his house, where he must respond. After some time, Tanya, a woman, comes into the home. She is a soldier in the neighborhood militia, and the Filipovs consider her family. Vasili hopes she remembers him as well because he remembers seeing her on the train on his way to Stalingrad. He is disappointed, though, when she only calls him the war hero. It's clear from the group discussion that Vasili and Danilov are interested in her. When Danilov learns that she speaks German well, He even offers her a position decoding German codes at the headquarters. Tanya accepts the job despite her hesitations after realizing that she will be able to save many soldiers. The Soviet army is being troubled by an enemy sniper at a former department store, where Vasili is posted the following day. As soon as he gets there, he spots a shadow near the window and shoots it dead. He then leads his companion Ludmila inside to investigate, convinced of his abilities, only to discover that it was a ruse to trick them. Furthermore, Vasili discovers a cigarette blunt and surmises that the sniper remains inside. Ludmila becomes alarmed as multiple jets swoop overhead, bombing the nearby buildings. Despite Vasili's best efforts to soothe her, she quickly flees. Consequently, Konig, the opposition sniper, notices her quickly and kills her with a single shot. He returns to his hiding place in the scene that follows, where Sasha cleans his shoes. In exchange for food, the child provides him with information concerning Vasili. The Red Army enlists Kulikov, Konig's former pupil, to assist Vasili after learning of Konig's intentions. The sniper squad members Vasili, Kulikov, and Volodya enter an abandoned structure where a body has been laid up to resemble an enemy sniper. They assume it's a trap, think they're headed in the correct direction, and leave the area. They are fired at by the enemy, but they are fortunate enough to escape unharmed and arrive at a secure location. They mark 2 men before preparing dinner. Volodya is seized by the enemy as he rushes to get the soup he left in the other room. He is sent disguised as their repairman and outfitted in a German uniform after he refuses to provide Vasili's whereabouts. Kulilov shoots him without hesitation, meaning to give away their location. Then he holds up a helmet to trick Konig into shooting at it, while also disclosing his location. However, Konig gets a hint of what they are up to and doesn't fall for the trap, making them relocate in a hurry. Just as they are moving to a different place, Konig kills Kulikov, undermining Vasili's spirit. Regardless of the several deaths it has caused, Khrushchev keeps pressuring Danilov to continue the sniper face-off. In addition, Tanya asks him to transfer her back to the militia. When Vasili returns dispirited, Danilov promises him that they will get more intel on Konig and asks him to make Tanya stay in the headquarters. As requested, Vasili tries to convince her and learns that her parents were among the prisoners executed by the Germans, so she wants to join the militia and fight. He understands her choices and gives her Kulilov's rifle, supporting her decision. While asking Sasha where Vasili is hiding, Konig gets his shoe cleaned again at the bunker. He waits for Vasili the next day at the place Sasha gave him, looking forward to seeing him. After some time, Konig becomes aware of Vasili and his companion as they carefully navigate the pipes. Konig fires first, and Vasili drops his rifle to cover behind a boulder as soon as they emerge from the pipe. His hand is hurt, so he makes his friend go back to the headquarters. When he returns, Tanya and Danilov are made aware of the situation, and Tanya immediately decides to go save Vasili. Vasili tries repeatedly to pull his weapon at the end of the pipe with the aid of a knife and rope, but Konig gives up on him. At that moment, a bomb blast rocks the entire building, breaking glass everywhere and allowing Konig a clear view of Vasili. Tanya arrives via the pipe after that, but Vasili urges her to wait. He tells her to use another piece of glass to reflect light after displaying Konig's location on the same piece of glass that is being used to view him. Tanya successfully completes her mission, briefly rendering the adversary blind. Vasili takes the chance to pick up his weapon and manages to shoot Konig's hand before both parties retreat. Later, in the evening, Vasili and Tanya celebrate the small victory with other comrades. Jealousy. The following day, Vasili tells Danilov that he wants to be a regular soldier because both Konig and the title of a war hero have weighed him down. Danilov doesn't accept it and manipulates him using Sasha, revealing that he has been working as a double agent. Through the kid, they now know the exact location Konig is in, and Vasili is tasked to a final mission. In the following scene, we see him camouflage with the dead bodies on the ground remaining idle, just like his grandfather taught him. The scene of the day he learned to hunt plays before his eyes, and as he waits for Konig, eventually he dozes off, and his sniper log is stolen by a looting German soldier. Taking the log as proof of Vasili's demise, the German command intends to send Konig home since his murder will serve Soviet propaganda purposes. Despite everything, Konig is positive that Vasili is still alive. The squad descends into anarchy as the HQ then uses loudspeakers to proclaim Vasili's death. In the meantime, Konig informs Sasha of his upcoming whereabouts in an effort to apprehend Vasili, reasoning that the youngster will undoubtedly provide the knowledge to the adversary. Danilov is writing a notice of his death somewhere, with no indication that Vasili will return, when the protagonist suddenly materializes and takes everyone by surprise. Soon after, he learns from Sasha that Tanya went to the station in an attempt to kill Konig alone. In their haste to save her, Vasili and Danilov fortunately discover her safe. Tanya gives Vasili a kiss on the lips, making Danilov envious that he's still alive. He heads back to the headquarters, forgetting his duty to his squad, and writes that Vasili has turned traitor. In the meantime, Vasili and Tanya witness Konig kill Sasha by hanging him after all of his accusations have been disproved. Tanya is furious and tries to exact revenge on him, but Vasili promises to murder Konig on her behalf and orders her to take Sasha's mother to safety. Danilov and Tanya don't know how to break it to Mrs. Filipov, so they lie to her that Sasha has joined the Germans. She hopes that her son is still safe and decides to escape with the special pass given by Danilov. While trying to get on the boat, a bomb explodes and hurts Tanya, making her fall unconscious. The doctor has no hopes of her surviving, so he doesn't let her into the boat. Mrs. Filipov, however, convinces the personnel that Tanya is her daughter and shows them the pass before they allow her to board. Somewhere else, an oblivious Danilov finds Vasili and shares the tragic news of Tanya's death, burdening himself with guilt. Overwhelmed with regret, he blames himself and decides to give up on life by exposing himself to Konig. Without any delay, the sniper fires at him, revealing his own location. Unexpectedly, Konig moves slowly towards the battle, expecting to win, and is shocked to see Vasili standing by. Konig accepts his fate, allowing Vasili to shoot him, and perishes in the process. When the mayhem stops, Vasili picks up his rifle and respectfully sets it next to Danilov's lifeless body. After Stalingrad has been free of German for 2 months, Tanya writes to Vasili to let him know that she is getting better at the field hospital. Eager to see her again, he visits the address mentioned in the letter, and the movie ends as we witness a heartfelt reunion between the two. Synopsis. The film is set in 1942, during the Stalingrad battle, in which Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union are at war. Jude Law portrays a young Russian soldier named Vasili Zaitsev, who becomes a hero due to his extraordinary sniping abilities. His fame quickly became well known among the German and Soviet soldiers. Recognizing Zaitsev's potential, the Germans dispatch Major Erwin Konig, their best sniper, to take him out. In the ruins of Stalingrad, the two snipers play a deadly game of cat and mouse, trying to outwit and outshoot one another. In the meantime, Tanya Chernova, a young Russian sniper, and Vasili develop a romantic relationship. Amidst the chaos of war, the two find it difficult to keep their love going. Vasili is thrown into a leadership position and turns into a symbol of hope for his fellow soldiers as the fighting gets more intense and the Russian forces sustain significant losses. In order to defeat Konig and outmaneuver the German forces, Vasili needs the support of Tanya and his allies to win the Battle of Stalingrad. Recap. In 1942, during the Battle of Stalingrad, Red Army soldier Vasili Zaitsev was dispatched to the front. Captured in a suicide charge, he hides under a heap of bodies while a car is rendered immobile by a tank shell. He is armed only with ammunition, not a gun. Inside, among the same pile of dead, Commissar Danilov finds cover and a gun. When Vasili makes his identity known, he tells the commissar not to open fire until the noise is muffled by explosion. Gifted with the gun by Danilov, Vasili kills 5 German soldiers in under a minute, much to the former's surprise. Nikita Khrushchev asks his subordinates for suggestions regarding morale. Senior Lieutenant Danilov suggests inspiring the troops, while the other commissars advocate harsher discipline and terror. Make examples, but examples to follow, he says, and he considers Zaitsev for that position. Not long later, Danilov starts printing valiant accounts of Vasili's adventures in the army newspaper. After being moved to the sniper division, Vasili befriends Danilov. Additionally, they both develop romantic feelings for Tanya Chernova, a private in the neighborhood militia. Danilov fears for her safety and has her sent to an intelligence unit, supposedly to employ her radio intercept translation talents in German. German Major Erwin Konig is sent in to assassinate Vasili and destroy Soviet morale, since the Soviet snipers are increasingly causing damage to the German soldiers. Upon discovering Konig's objective, the Red Army leadership assigns Kulikov, Konig's erstwhile pupil, to assist Vasili in eliminating him. But Konig outwits Kulikov and murders him, which lowers Vasili's morale. Danilov is under pressure from Khrushchev to end the sniper standoff. A young Soviet child named Sasha Filipov offers to work as a double agent by providing Konig with bogus information regarding Vasili's location. Tanya, who has come to save Vasili, assists Vasili in setting up a trap for Konig, which allows Vasili to injure him. On his second attempt, Vasili nods off and a plundering German soldier takes his sniper log. Although Konig does not think Vasili is dead, the German command takes the journal as proof of Vasili's death and intends to send Konig home. General Friedrich Paulus removes Konig's dog tags so that, in the event that Konig is killed and recognized, Soviet propaganda will not benefit. Konig presents the general with the War Merit Cross that his son, a lieutenant in the 116th Infantry Division, who was slain early in the action, was posthumously given. Konig, who believes the youngster might be an informant, tells Sacha where he will be going next. Meanwhile, love has blossomed between Tanya and Vasili. That evening, Tanya sneaks into the Soviet barracks and has a sexual encounter with Vasili. Vasili is disparaged by the envious Danilov in a letter addressed to his superiors. Konig's suspicions about Sasha are confirmed when he sees Tanya and Vasili waiting for him at his next ambush location. Then, in order to lure Vasili, he kills the boy and hangs his body. Vasili sends Tanya and Danilov to retrieve Sasha's mother and swears to murder Konig. While traveling to the boats, Tanya is injured by shrapnel. Danilov regrets being envious of Vasili, believing her dead, and even his enthusiasm for communist principles starts to wane. Danilov finds Vasili ready to ambush Konig. He purposely exposes himself to lure Konig into firing back and disclosing his own whereabouts. Konig proceeds to examine the body, believing he has killed Vasili, only to discover he is now in the Russians' line of sight. Konig turns to face Vasili with a gloomy expression, accepting his fate, and then gets shot. After the German forces have submitted and Stalingrad has been freed, 2 months later, Vasili discovers Tanya recuperating in a field hospital.